I've been admittedly somewhat critical of Omega's releases this year. We've all grown accustomed to Omega and all the other watch brands releasing all of their different novelties at the same time, whatever, right? In a very kind of structured, system.
Yes.
And Omega chose not to do that this year, which I thought was kind of odd. And I still kind of think that was kind of odd.
Yeah.
But it also kind of took the wind out of the releases that they did make.
They dribbled out. They didn't explode out. It was a small, dripping stream.
Exactly. But now with their new Seamaster 75 anniversary,
It's a powerful fire hydrant.
I think they killed it. I think Omega's did an amazing job. There are a couple of criticisms that we'll address one by one. I think Omega's done a great job both here and frankly this whole year. Again, I don't like the way they released it, but I think they've done a very good job.
Fascinating.
What is up, Watch Fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Vintage Watch Shop.
My name is Michael, and this video is sponsored by Huckberry, aka my shirt and your shirt.
I love the shirt. It's beautiful.
It's fantastic. It's Terrytail.
Trans too. All right, let's talk about Omega. So, long story short, the Seamaster turned 75 this year, and frankly, you know what's funny is I never know when the anniversaries are coming.
I don't
People
either.
never talk about them in advance. Like it's kind of just like you wake up one morning and it's like, hey, by the way, today's the 60th anniversary of the Daytona. I'm
You're
like,
wow,
you're kidding.
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
You're calling
so I
me.
never remember that, right? So there's not a lot of like tension and anticipation.
Yeah.
And I wish that there was. Okay, first of all, that would really just build it up more and everything. Alas, I digress.
Of course.
But it is the 75th anniversary of the Seamaster. The Seamaster is one of my favorite, models by any watch brand of all time. It's a great value model. They're incredibly well made. Their coaxial movements are incredible. Their cases are everything about Omega watches really is very good, and they're affordably priced, relatively speaking.
Yes.
They're quite nice. So we're fans of the brand, no question there.
I want a Speedmaster.
You want a Speedmaster, exactly.
Have I said that before on the channel?
I think you may have.
Oh.
One of my, criticisms of Omega and all watch brands for that matter is always just, be a little bit more colorful. You guys know I've said this so many times.
Yeah.
I really, even in a basic watch, I really do like color. I don't think that the Black Submariner and the Hulk are in the same league. I think the Hulk is way better.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Just because it's almost a fun little twist on a classic watch. You know?
Right.
So I'm always, every time I look at a Seamaster 300, which is a bit of a sporty watch for me, but I really like it, I'm always like, even the Navy is...
It needs color.
It needs more color.
Oh, Michael, you got color.
And the truth, that's what my mom says to Michael. And the truth is, it doesn't need color. The navy blue, the green, the white, the black, all the colors are great.
And it's structured from an outside watch nerd's perspective, where a guy is like, that's my one watch. I don't want it to look anything different.
Exactly. You're 100% right. That is the real, viable, way to look at it so far as the global market.
Yeah.
But I'm just always looking for some color, right?
Some color.
And now with Omega's 75th anniversary, not only did they bring us color, and they did, but they brought us a cohesive narrative of color across their entire Seamaster line, which is phenomenal. Now, we'll talk about the watches in a second, and you'll bring us through the 11 new watches.
11-ish, yeah.
11-ish new watches. But there are a couple of points of contention, right? One being the case back of the new Seamasters.
Yes.
A hot little topic. Another being the choice to use steel for the cases of the Proplof.
Yes.
Usually they're titanium. Aluminum. They're just horrible watches. No, usually they're
Usually they're made out of recycled tin.
Super, again, bizarre, non-traditional. It's kind of an odd thing to do.
Yes.
And then finally, that only color changed and nothing else. Right. So we're going to address all these criticisms one by one. I think that we're going to basically agree, give or take. But let's get into it. Tell me about these watches, Mr. Christie.
Okay, so really, obviously, like you said, nothing...
Mr. Christie's my father.
That's my father!
Call me Michael.
Nothing really changed about these watches. That was a big area that we'll get into in a second, but what did change is obviously the dials, especially on the Aquaterra 38. It now takes the dial from the 34 and switches it in a blue color. The case back is now, on all of these watches, not see-through. It is replaced with this graphic of Poseidon, which I will say, and we'll get into in a second, I wish it was on some models and not on others. They made the case back in different ways. Like if we're looking at some of the Seamasters, it's pressed in, and on other Seamasters, it looks like it's laser etched on. So I really like it on the pressed in ones, but we'll get into that in a second. The Ploprof, that watch is now in steel, used to be in titanium, which is a big deal to some people. And then the final thing is my favorite. The Ultra Deep has graffiti on it, or handwriting on it, which is, it's celebrating Omega going to the Marianas Trench. And basically in handwritten on the right side, very reminiscent of kind of a Snoopy style thing that Omega does, they wrote Omega was here.
I love that. Like a bathroom.
Yeah, like a bathroom. Exactly. Yeah.
That's great. Is it the Mariana Trench?
Well, I was going to say Marinara Trench as a joke, and I kept forgetting.
Who's Mariana?
You're like, I haven't met her. Wait, so how do you say it?
I'd like to see her trench.
There's going to be a post about us saying it wrong or right either way.
Exactly.
You said, tell us about these watches. I told you about what's different, because everything else is the same.
Right.
Besides the dial theory that we'll get into in 1 second.
So where do you fall on the caseback argument?
I like the pressed-in cases better than a see-through movement. What am I thinking of?
Sapphire caseback.
Sapphire, thanks. When you're at like an aquarium when they have the big glass, I like the watches that have the aquarium back. Like, yep.
Okay. So you prefer the closed caseback with an interesting engraving?
Yes, I used to be obsessed with caseback engravings. I used to love that. I used to always look for an Omega that had something like that. So, kind of harkening back to that, I think that's cool. I wear my watch it's covered by my wrist.
I love a caseback engraving. I love a high quality stamp or inscription or graphic. I really do. I think it's awesome, right? You and I have had this conversation at length about poetically designing, right, a caseback.
Yeah, sure.
And that's great stuff. I really do love it. That being said, it's tough. Like it's neck and neck for me because the movements are really beautiful. They're great movements. So I can understand why certain people, clients, would say,
you're hiding the watch.
I actually would have liked to see the movement. The coaxial movement 8800 is actually a really beautiful movement.
Yeah.
I would love to see it. It's well finished. I'd love to see it. I think it would actually be a deal breaker in the regular collection.
Really?
And I think that they'll get away with it on these because they are so beautiful and they're so special and they're just so nice.
Yeah.
That I don't think that anyone will be held back from buying it, even if their preference is sapphire. Which mine probably is.
Really? You know what would hold me back? If they, in any way, shape, or form, had commemorative text on it. I hate that. Yeah. I don't like that at all. But to me, it makes the watch not...
Right.
It's not timeless anymore. If it said like 75th anniversary of the Seamasters, no, absolutely not.
I agree with you
I don't like that ever.
Because you're a tasteful guy.
Thank you.
I also feel like why is Poseidon riding the seahorse? Why can't it be walking beside it? That's a Museum of Natural History reference.
Omega's watching this video like... okay, click off.
Click off.
Go back to Teddy.
I take the side of, succinctly, I prefer sapphire casebacks, but Omega did a great job here, and this certainly wouldn't be a deal breaker for me, even though it's not my preference, because it is a beautiful caseback, period.
This video is sponsored by Huckberry. Specifically, we're looking at their Sun Shop collection, a curated list of things that you need for summer.
I'm such a Huckberry fan, and I learned about Huckberry through Michael, actually, who's also a big fan. They make just some of, and we'll talk about the products in a second, but just really quick, it's such a great one-stop shop for incredibly well-made clothing that is also just super fun and tasteful. Yeah. I went so far, I got a cooking apron from Huckberry, right? They literally have everything.
Yes.
So huge Huckberry fan right here.
Massive.
Talk about your shirt, big guy.
I am wearing the OAS Sunny Short Sleeve Terry shirt. I actually have another Terry shirt from OAS that's red. And anytime you put on a Terry shirt, is that like a towel?
It's really comfortable.
And it is like a towel because it's meant to double up as a towel in the summer.
I think that Terry shirts are really some of the best summer shirts. I have a ton of them. I really love them. They're so comfortable. They're breathable. Everything about Terry shirts are great. This is a beautiful one. I love the color. Actually, since I walked in the room, it's the first thing I said.
Yeah.
I didn't know this episode was in partnership with Huckberry. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, dude, that is the coolest shirt. Where did you get that?
Yeah.
I love that.
100% cotton, made in Portugal, fantastic quality.
Yeah, it's
and
amazing.
you just flooded with compliments. ones.
Yep, and I'm wearing my Parigi swim trunks. I'm not wearing them right now, but they're right here.
Yes.
And they're phenomenal. They're 5-inch inseam, so they're perfect for me. That's the length that I love. It doesn't make you look like an old man. It doesn't make you look disheveled, right? You look super clean. They're handmade in Italy, which naturally I love. They're very reminiscent of kind of like vintage summer vibes,
100%.
right? Very talented Mr. Ripley, very like a Kodak, something you'd find in a photo that was taken by a Kodak that's been totally disregarded.
Exactly.
Super cool. I absolutely love them. Just like Huckberry. It's so easy to be in partnership with them because the quality of their stuff is just phenomenal. So I highly recommend you go over to Huckberry and expand your wardrobe.
So do I. What makes the dials special besides them being blue? And why am I saying dials and not dial?
Yeah, I mean, I just love this idea of a kind of cohesive narrative, right, throughout a collection, and that's not like always the case, you know.
Yeah, it's usually a dial a watch has a color. Another watch has a different color,
right,
or the same color.
Yeah.
There's not anything that unifies them besides maybe them being the same color.
Totally. Nothing's really tying them together in many ways. But these are tied together. And not just in the fact that they're different, tones of a similar blue, but or the same blue for that matter, but because the blue gets darker the deeper you go, which I actually didn't know until Michael pointed out to me just a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm being disingenuous by claiming this as my own knowledge. But that's awesome.
Starting to, if we're looking at the textures, the ultra, or not starting, I guess, ending, the ultra deep literally looks like the ocean floor in a very dark blue.
Awesome.
It would be totally black, obviously. And then we're going up. This is the only part I think would be cooler if we switch the teak dial, but the Aquaterra is the lightest. If the teak dial on the Aquaterra was first, that's cool because you're on the ship deck and then you go down.
Oh, so you're saying you could okay, I got you. I see what
if we're going to play with textures, it's like, okay, you're there, then
funny.
you go, then you go, then
that
you go.
That would be funny, yeah. But super cool, like great job with the colors. The colors themselves are beautiful. I saw a wrist shot, the Diver 300. Insane.
The people that were defending this thing that we'll get into in a second of it not being new watches were saying like, but you don't understand how beautiful the watches already are.
Yes.
And it's so enhanced by the color of these dials.
I truly I should not there's no reason for me to get a sports watch. I do not really wear sports watches.
Well, you are a sports watch guy.
But but I am so, when it started on the plane. It started on the plane when I was texting you. I was just like really going down the rabbit hole of like looking into buying a sports Omega. Yeah. Because I don't have a new Omega. I have a vintage Omega. And the new Omegas just are great. Like I would I look at that freaking Seamaster or the Railmasters or some of the Speedmasters and I'm like, this is awesome. I actually bought a Speedmaster while I was away for the shop, which who knows when it'll ever make it there. I'll probably just wear it for a while.
Yeah.
But they're just such great watches. Anyway, super attractive design. The Seamaster Heritage, all of them, basically top to bottom, they're beautiful. Yeah. Obviously, the Aquaterra, it seems a little bit, a little bit on the light kind of side. Maybe, a little bit, a little bit feminine almost. I think there's definitely, it's kind of smooth.
Are you saying by taking the 34 dial to the 38 dial? Because I totally agree.
Yeah. I think that, and I think that Omega would agree because they, they're the ones that did a dial differentiation from day one, right?
Yeah,
the 34s were decidedly feminine at the time.
Yeah,
so.
No, I agree. That is an interesting thing that you brought it up because I always thought that, and then instinctively when they switched it, I was like, oh, I guess I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah, but some things, if it looks like shit and smells like shit and tastes like shit. So yes, this whole kind of cohesive narrative all throughout is very nice. The watches are very attractive. They really explode in the light. Yes. I also think it's great when brands do experiment with color. You guys know this. I think that color is so much fun and we should all introduce it into our lives. And watches are a great place to start or even stop because they're kind of small, right? Like you don't need to, I'm not telling you how to go buy a bright linen red shirt, right? That may not be your style.
Yeah.
But wearing a, kind of like a cool blue or
a light blue is not even that crazy, right?
It's beautiful. Like it's just personal. So I think that's great.
Yes. So why are people upset? Well, for one, watch people are always upset.
We're going
to move that aside.
Exactly.
But why are people upset that the 75th anniversary of the Seamaster collection was released?
I think that they just lose perspective. I think that people lose perspective because they're upset from a position of, well, this wasn't enough of a release for an anniversary so significant, right? 3/4 of a century.
We wanted a smaller bracelet. We wanted smaller watches or bigger watches. We wanted this. We wanted that. We didn't want XYZ.
Yeah.
I think, and we talked about this a little bit, that interestingly, it is pretty industry standard, which is a weird term for this, but for anniversaries to change the color, and that's it.
Right.
We changed the text red. We changed the dial to a green.
And not even dramatic, right? Not even dramatic changes. Like, look at the Submariner, right? I love the Hulk. I think the Hulk is one of the greatest Submariners, but like, it wasn't the Hulk is nowhere near as intelligent of a release as this collection. This is far more intelligent.
Well, the Hulk is also a watch.
So it's a watch.
You released a variation.
Exactly.
Right?
This is throughout. It's just very smart. So I don't think that they missed at all. I think they did a great job. I don't think they needed to do anything else. Anything more than this, truly. Period. I think that this is perfect. The funny thing we were discussing before was this does remind me of the Bulgari Capri.
Oh, yes.
The new Bulgari Capri collection, which are beautiful watches, and they're great. They do remind me of that, but Omega certainly did not rip off Bulgari, right? Bulgari is taking inspiration from Capri, and, these Omegas are taking inspiration from Mykonos.
Were people saying that?
No. I'm just saying.
Okay.
That the Capri ones did come couple of months earlier and are shockingly similar.
Yes.
But they're because they're taking inspiration from the same element, right? From waters that touch, right? I mean, so of course. But this is totally unique. Omega clearly. These watches are better on an objective level.
Yeah, of course.
And I think the Bulgaris are great, but this is just a different animal.
Yeah, it's a different product almost.
Yeah. If you love watches like I do, if you think that they mean something more than the time, then head on over to theoandharris.com and shop our selection of vintage watches and handmade straps. They're unique and they're special, and once they're gone for good. Before we get into the last issue here, which is around one of, I think, Omega's coolest watches, the Poploff, which now comes in a new material.
Old
new material. I want to announce our next Theo and Harris meetup. We did one about a year ago, and it was a huge success. Yes. It was a huge success. And it was a success because we keep them pretty small, about 25 people, over drinks, a little bit of food, but low-key vibes.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yep.
Super low-key, just nice people having good conversation. It's a ton of fun. So anyway, we'll be hosting our next meetup on Tuesday, August 2nd in Manhattan. We will not disclose the location until the day before, and that's for your security reasons, but it's downtown Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to hang out with you guys and eat and drink and be merry and talk really cool watches. So if you'd like to come and join us and hang out, you can make a reservation by signing up at The Zero, which is our podcast community. Mm-hmm. Link is down below. We do podcasts every week. Michael and I sit down, or I sit down with another industry legend like John Buckley or Carl Cohen, or all these different folks from all different kind of like perspectives and parts of the watch universe. We talk about all hot topics around watches, our personal passions, our controversies, our journeys here. It's amazing. It's been an amazing community so far. So you can go and sign up there. We'll be dropping that link in the community tomorrow, Thursday, for you to go ahead and reserve your spot. Okay. So that's it. Looking forward to meeting you guys, and that's it. Back to the video. The other kind of point of contention here was the Poploff.
Yes, it is not in grade 5 titanium, not pure titanium. It's in steel, Omega steel.
And this is for the first time, or
this is not for the first time. This is how the watch originated, and then it kind of all shifted. So they went back.
So I imagine, and I could be wrong, but I imagine the watch went titanium because of the weight, right? Is that because the watch is so big? The watch is a monster.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that's got something to do with it.
Yeah. You like heavy watches.
I like heavy watches. So first of all, I like that. I actually like that it's in steel.
Yeah.
But I also think that this is one of the coolest Omegas they make.
Oh yeah, this is a watch where it's like, it's one of the things where it's like you're shocked that they make it.
Yes. Yeah. This takes a tank of a guy to wear.
Oh yeah.
A tank. I mean, I could think of a very small handful of guys that I know.
Big Wrist John?
Big Wrist John.
It's in the name.
My Uncle Tori.
Oh, Big Wrist Tori.
Not that many guys.
No.
Not that many guys. But it's beautiful. Oh, especially in this color combo. So I think that it is not a problem at all that it's in steel, not titanium. Some people, I guess, are purists in that sense. But if it was originally in steel, and there's, and even if it wasn't originally in steel, which it was, but even if it wasn't, it's good this way. It's nice and it's beautiful. So I definitely reject any objection.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. the last thing which we talked about before, the interesting part is that it didn't seem like any watch press was invited that I know of. Even Hodinkee was doing reaction videos.
Yeah, I don't know. Omega's funny with their Omega's a funny company with the way they market, right?
Yeah.
They have Omega probably has more celebrity pop culture ambassadors than any other brand.
Yeah.
Truly. And I could be wrong there, but I don't think I am.
You think it levels Tag?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's better than Tag.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, I'd need to obviously get metrics on that to tell you guys with certainty, but I think that's probably true.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild how much effort they put into it. It's wild.
Yeah.
And I've been at Omega events, and it's an important part of their event.
Yeah.
And just to be totally clear, to add color to my remark, I mean, Omega is, I know from the industry, very well known for not just inducting you as a member of, they call it Friends of Omega, meaning as a celebrity ambassador.
Sure.
Willy-nilly. You need to be a friend of Omega. So it's funny how they nurture those relationships with these celebrities. I don't always think that it's the best use of, I don't know. It's never something that I've done professionally, right? I've never really studied the impact of, this influencer marketing. And I don't really know. I just haven't studied it, right? So I'm not speaking from a position of authority, but Omega certainly does it more than anybody else. And I guess that would mean that it's working.
I guess it's effective to the point you can assume, and it's just my opinion, that it's I don't really need these watch people coming out. We're fine.
You also know they're going to cover you anyway.
Yeah, right.
We're Omega.
Yeah,
they're going to cover
You're going to talk about it, and Hodinkee did 4 articles on it the same day. And it was yeah, perfect. Look at that. We didn't even have to fly him out.
Exactly. So yeah, I think Omega's done a great job. I think it was a great release. I would totally take one of these. I'd buy one of these.
Yep.
It's not the Omega that I want right now.
Which one, by the way?
Which Omega do I want?
I think we'd want the same one.
Oh, which Omega would I want? The Seamaster 300.
Yeah.
Is phenomenal.
Yeah.
What's funny about the Seamaster line, and I was just writing this when I was writing the script for the Aquaterra, is, the Seamaster was originally billed, their marketing brand speak was for town, sea, and country. And the idea is that it's dressy enough to go to dinner in, right? It's water resistant enough to go out in the ocean with, and it's durable enough, probably resistant to shock, to go out and basically into the field and farm or whatever, with, or hunt or whatever. And it's funny because that it still does ring pretty true. I mean, all those watches. All the watches certainly, are sea and country enough.
Yep.
Some of them I don't know about town.
Yeah, ultra deep is a little tough.
But culture has changed as well, right? We do that now. Right? We do. We do. Yeah. Years. I mean, look, the GMT was a suits watch. If you wore a suit, you were a GMT, and the sub wasn't. Culture's changed, and I think that at its core, the brand speak still is pretty accurate. Omega's done a great job, and this collection maybe exemplifies that more than any other, because the color really brings it to life.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, that's it. Terrific job, Omega. Very good. Everyone, get ready for our review of the Aquaterra 38 in this green color. I love the watch, so stay tuned on the Theo and Harris channel. Subscribe for upcoming videos.
Boom.